Yo, what up? Josh Rubin from East West Healing and Performance. Today I want to talk to you about pregnancy and women's health. Now, we could say this is actually quite correlated with any human out there. You don't even have to be pregnant for this. Of course, some parts of this will correlate to women that are pregnant, but this actually correlates to anyone out there because a lot of people suffer with swelling, inflammation, high blood pressure, just feeling not good, having weight gains, slow metabolism, aches and pains, constipation, the inability to get pregnant, or the inability to actually keep the fetus and always having miscarriages. So a lot of these things actually pertain to women, whether they're pregnant or not, and men as well, because men are having a lot of these same issues, minus actually getting pregnant. They're having issues with erectile dysfunction or having healthy sperm and things like that. So I want to give you 10 quick tips for pregnancy or just general health and dieting. Now, of course, there's way many tips than this. This is YouTube, so don't take it word as bond, etch it in stone, and say, well, what about this? You forgot that, and this is way more important. I'm just giving you tips based off some from research and reading that I've been doing lately that I think is very important. So the first is, there's a lot of research to show that malnutrition or cutting calories when pregnant can actually affect fetus growth, fetus nutrition, brain growth in the fetus, and lead to low birth weights in the baby when it's born, which leads to complications at birth and later on in life. And you're going to know how many calories you need based on your body temperature and your pulse, and that's a whole nother story in itself. So if you want to learn more about that and work with us, give us a call. But at the same time, if you're having a hard time regulating your metabolism and your temperature's below 98, now typically when you're pregnant they're going to go up, same thing with your heart rate. But if you're having a hard time regulating your nutrition and you're under eating calorically, I don't even care if you're eating 2,600 calories, if you can't regulate your metabolism, then you need to increase your calories to meet the metabolic demands of you and the developing fetus. So never cut calories. Most books will recommend 26 to like 3,100 calories. Honestly, I say eat until the metabolic demands of your body are actually met. And we do this based off body temperature and pulse, and of course how you feel and how you sleep and digestion. So that's my first tip. Second tip, always protein, carb, and fat with every single meal and snack. Most people forget this. These are macronutrients to our body, right? We wear shirts, pants, and shoes. It'd be like walking out the house with just pants and shoes and no shirt. Or walking out in the street with maybe just a shirt, no pants, and shoes, right? You're missing one of those macronutrients to actually make up who you are when you leave the house. You don't walk around with no shirt on if you're a girl. So you need these actual macronutrients. Proteins are important because they stimulate thyroid production. They help make up bones, teeth, and the cells, and when your cells reproduce, they help with this reproduction. Carbohydrates are important because they help to produce ATP or energy of the body. They're actually exactly what give you the energy to make you go, and without them, you actually would completely die because you wouldn't produce ATP. Fats are precursors to all your steroidal hormones, help produce cholesterol, the anti-inflammatory. So you always need a protein, carb, and fat with every single meal to meet the metabolic demands of you and the fetus. And it's important. It's not about having too much of this or not enough of that. It's about having the fine balance. And once again, we know this based off if your metabolism is healing, based off your body temperature and pulse. Now, of course, macronutrients do way more than that, but for the purpose of this video, those are some key points why you need those nutrients, especially the fats to actually help with development of the fetus and brain development that last trimester of your cycle, or of the pregnancy. The carbs and the sugars are super important as well because they actually help to regulate blood sugar and downregulate the stress response or downregulate estrogen, cortisol production in the body if you are pregnant, which can actually create growth retardation and lead to low birth weight and downregulate progesterone. So the carbs and the sugars are very important, and I'm not saying fats and proteins are not, but you want to think about that. One other important thing about protein is protein actually helps the liver produce albumin. Now, this is very important in regards to, I'm looking at my outline here, because albumin in the liver actually helps your body detoxify toxins and detoxify estrogen. And when estrogen is high, it can actually pull water out of your tissues and into the, water out of your blood and into the tissues and lead to swelling. Now, swelling is actually normal during pregnancy. There's healthy swelling and unhealthy swelling. A lot of the times when we're not eating enough protein or anti-inflammatory proteins like broths and gelatin, eggs and dairy and white fishes, those should be the staple of your diet because of muscle meats having high amounts of tryptophan, which can convert to serotonin and lead to more inflammation, blood sugar fluctuations, and more edema. These proteins actually help to produce albumin. Well, when albumin levels are low, that actually lowers blood volume in the body. Blood volume increases by 40% when you're pregnant due to salt, which is super important to actually keep this blood volume up, and albumin regulates it. You want your blood volume to go up to actually feed the fetus. There's 300 quarts of blood that go through the umbilical cord per day of blood, and you need this blood volume to do that. But this blood volume actually nourishes the fetus. It doesn't directly nourish the fetus, but through perfusion and infusion, it actually nourishes the fetus. So the blood volume is important, and if you're not eating enough protein to make albumin, or you're not having the healthy type of salt in your diet to increase your blood volume drops, and now there's malnourishment to the fetus and to yourself, leading to many complications during pregnancy, when you have the baby, and after pregnancy. So make sure you're taking in the right types of proteins to regulate salt and albumin levels in the body. Swelling is normal, like I talked about. Swelling is important to basically provide an energy reservoir for the fetus while it's actually in you, but also when you breastfeed. It actually helps with the loss of blood volume when you have the baby, so the swelling is very important in that. And it's a backup for the placenta if it is malnourished. So it's important that we have the swelling, and so many doctors want to cut calories and put you on low-salt diets and put you on diuretics. That's actually going to stress the kidneys out. They're going to release renin. It's going to cause vasoconstriction. The low salt's going to decrease blood volume. The kidneys are going to try to reabsorb water and salt through your body, and you don't have enough albumin, so it actually creates more pressure and inflammation in the tissues, which is going to increase your blood pressure and lead to more complications. So cutting your calories and taking diuretics and limiting salt actually leads to more complications when you need to eat the right foods, macronutrients, the right amount of salt, the right amount of proteins to increase blood volume, to nourish the fetus, nourish your body as a backup reserve, and downregulate the stress cycle that's going on. Another important thing, so I'm just working my way down the list. I have no idea what number I'm on. I talked about blood pressure a little, but it's very important because if you don't have enough albumin and salt from what you're eating, the kidneys try to reabsorb water in through your body. And the problem is if you don't have albumin to regulate it, that water actually gets pulled from the blood into the tissues again and leads to more stress on the body and more inflammation and more swelling, which can lead to toxemia, nausea, eclampsia, and things like that. So really watch your nutrition for those matters. A lot of times when people have high blood pressure when they're pregnant, it's because of low salt intake, wrong macronutrients, and not enough of the right types of carbohydrates to regulate blood sugar. As I mentioned, blood volume goes up by 40%, so make sure you actually regulate your salt and protein intake, because salt and protein regulate your blood volume, which nourishes the fetus and it nourishes you. Anytime you're malnourished, of course, or you're malnourishing the fetus calorically and with the right foods, you're going to see stress, you're going to see increased cortisol, you're going to see increased estrogen as well as that, and the liver's going to have the inability to detoxify it, which can lead to nausea, morning sickness, and other just other burdens on the liver, so the liver can't detoxify other toxins, which stresses out the fetus. You'll see decreased progesterone levels in the body, decreased albumin levels because of this, because of estrogen. You'll see decreased blood volume, decreased nutrition for the baby, liver burden, and if the liver can't detox or nourish the fetus, you actually will see stress on the fetus, and you can have malnourishment to the fetus, and toxins are going into the fetus, low birth weight, things like that, and complications. So really think about that when you're malnourishing yourself. You're doing your body a disservice as well as the fetus. And last fact that I actually found recently that I found important about breastfeeding, we always talk about breastfeeding and the fetus, and we always forget about you. But a lot of women, when they have a baby, the umbilical cord attaches from the uterus, and the scarring. Now, a lot of the times when we breastfeed, or women breastfeed, you release hormones that cause the uterus to actually relax and contract. It creates a wave-like motion in the muscle tissue as well as the uterus. And this can actually help with the scarring that is in the uterus from where the umbilical cord actually was attached. So if you breastfeed, you actually cause the hormone to be released, which causes a relaxation and contraction of the uterus, which causes the scar to actually heal much faster. Now, if you don't breastfeed, you actually run the risk of postpartum hemorrhaging due to constant uterine relaxation. So you're not going to get an actually contraction and a relaxation of the uterus, leading to healing, and you're going to get more scarring, which can lead to hemorrhaging later on after having the baby. So hopefully you've learned something. I'm having trouble with words today. You can put all this together today and go Bruins.